Creativity really is about accessing the imagination of God in terms of how He sees things.
Do you want to harness the power of the internet to reach people with the good news of the gospel? Well, you're in the right place.
We're Bruce and Lindsay, and we are passionate about helping you leverage the digital landscape to disciple nations.
Join us and other Kingdom Messengers as we share tech and tools to help you launch and grow your Kingdom channel.
What are some ways that you receive kingdom revelation for these messages that you craft and then communicate?
Like when God says, I know the plans I have for you, not for your calamity, for your welfare, to give you a future and a hope. So that tells you that He's seeing your lifestyle with Him in a very particular way. You know, so when I'm thinking about a message, I don't just sit down and think, oh, it'd be good to talk about that. I'm asking the Lord, what do you want to talk about next? Because what the Lord is doing and what we're doing as coaches is we're taking people on a journey. One of our first key series on BTV was Story and Journey, because everybody has one. Everybody has a story and everybody's on a journey. The two major things that we're coaching into. You know, how can we change your story and change you in the process? And how do we change your journey so that you're not operating at this level, but maybe you're operating from this level? You know, and so I imagine it's like when Moses was taking a rabble of slaves from Egypt towards Canaan. He's changing their story from being slaves to hopefully being a disciplined army that can take territory. But He's reintroducing them to who God is along the way. And so that whole story and journey of Israel, I have read through that and thought about that and talked to the Lord about it, I don't know, hundreds of times. Story and journey. You know, what was it like for you? And even just knowing how God knew He was going to take them through the wilderness, because He was going to introduce them to what He can do when you have nothing. When you're in an inhospitable place and, you know, nothing grows, there's no water, there's no place to feed over 1 million people. So God takes you into the wilderness when He's happy with you, and He opens up everything. But He takes you into a place, He allows you to go into a place where nothing's working for you, which is why we coach. People come to us because nothing's working. And then He teaches them, this is who I am when you've got nothing. This is who I am regardless of your circumstances. And then, you know, and you look at the planning beforehand, you know, how He, even before Moses hits Egypt, God is in the wilderness and He's taking out every natural predator in that whole area so that, you know, wildlife can flourish, because He's got to feed 1 million people, you know. So He thinks about things like that. And He creates an underground stream and sticks a rock on top of it. So He knows exactly where it is, because He's got to feed them, they've got to have water. He thinks about all those things. And so when I'm thinking about a message, I'm thinking about what is it you want them to end with? So I start with the end. What is it I want to achieve through this message? And I want to look at what are the keys. So I start with what's the end result? What do I want to walk away with? What are they walking away with? And then I work backwards, tracing the journey back to here where they're stuck, because I know what the outcome is. Now when I walk back, I'm looking at all the potential like fault areas, bugbears, you know, problems, and I create keys for every problem. And next to every key, there's always a promise. And that's when I bring in something prophetic. Not always prophesying, but always telling people what their future is going to be in a teaching context. This is why God is doing this, you know. So I take the journey out there, you know, what's the terrain look like? What is the outcome? And then I trace it back to here. And I look at all the things I need to talk about on this journey. And then I go out again just to check it out and see. And sometimes when I've gone out a second time, I see something, how I can make the outcome even stronger. I guess the key thing is, who and what do you want to influence through your coaching? So you're an influencer. And I know that, you know, amongst the millennial community, being an influencer is a really big thing. And it wasn't, that word, that language, that thinking wasn't even present when I started out in ministry. It was like, well, just, you know, give the best talk you can. And then I realized that I got to a point of dissatisfaction, and the Lord said, I haven't called you to give the best talk you can. I've called you to give the best talk I can.